We just finished watching all of NUDGESTOCK 2021 and it was amazing! Now, unless you're an absolute nutcase like me or some of my most loyal subscribers, you probably didn't watch all 12 hours of NUDGESTOCK because, well, it's 12 hours long. But the good news for you is that I am crazy enough to watch all 12 hours and then film this video in order to show you my top 5 highlights from the event. But first, if you're new here, you're probably thinking, who the heck are you and why should I care what your opinions are about NUDGESTOCK? Well, let me tell you, my name is Pete and I'm a trained behavioral scientist. I run this YouTube channel which is all about behavioral science, and in a few weeks' time I'm actually going to be joining Ogilvy's behavioral science team, and so hopefully we'll be helping them organize NUDGESTOCK 2022. So hopefully that should give me some credibility when I tell you that I think these are the top 5 highlights of the day. Now, it was a fantastically run event, and so there were a lot of highlights to choose from. There was Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman speaking, there was predictably irrational author Dan Ariely speaking, we had legendary comedian John Cleese speaking at the event, and to top it all off there was our illustrious leader Rory Sutherland himself summarizing and leading the Q&A on each of the events, which really elevated the entire thing and made it so much more enjoyable. But what might surprise you, and it certainly surprised me too, is that none of those people I just mentioned made it into my top 5 highlights of the day. So enough jibber jabber, let's get on with the top 5 moments from NUDGESTOCK 2021. Okay, so my 5th favorite moment of the day was Maddie Croucher's presentation about charity donations. Maddie Croucher is a senior consultant at Ogilvy, and fun fact, she's the person who actually interviewed me for my job at Ogilvy, so it was really cool to see her on the main stage giving this presentation about charity donations. I think what made Maddie's presentation so enjoyable is that it was really interactive. What she did was show a range of nudges that the team tested in order to try and increase charitable donations, and it was up to the audience to guess which one was the most successful. And so I remember playing this game with my chat. We were all trying to predict in real time which one was the most successful. All of us got the answer wrong, but that's actually what made it really fun, because it's fun to learn about these counterintuitive ideas that work in the real world. So overall, fantastic presentation, Maddie, about charity donations. Makes me so excited to be part of the team. Okay, number 4 is Ollie Hulme and Ergodicity Economics. Ergodicity Economics is based in some pretty complex mathematics, so Ollie could have given a really dry and boring presentation, but he actually presented ergodicity in a way that was super engaging, surprisingly funny, and really easy to understand for everyone, no matter your level of training. Throughout the presentation, Ollie was using these little funny triangle people who he said were nudge-stockers, which added this great level of humor to what's otherwise a pretty complicated mathematical theory. To try and summarize the main message of Ollie's talk, he was basically saying that contrary to traditional economic theory, people's risk preferences really aren't stable. But more than that, what seems really interesting is that people are able to intuitively shift their tolerance for risk in a way that is optimal according to ergodic theory or multiplicative dynamics. Now, if what I just said just sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook, I promise it'll make total sense if you go and watch Ollie's talk. Again, timestamps are in the description if you want to see any of these top 5 moments in the main video on Ogilvy's channel. Okay, so number 3 was the BS workshop. So this is a new feature of NUDGESTOCK, which I think was really fun. It involved Dan Bennett and the Ogilvy team presenting this new product called Nano salad. It's this dehydrated salad that helps people get all the nutrients from fruits and vegetables much more easily. But the problem with the product is that it's so innovative and new that it's hard for people to get on board to actually incorporate it into their diet and start using it. And so the Ogilvy team crowdsourced nudge ideas from the NUDGESTOCK audience themselves, and by the end of the day, NUDGESTOCK has sent in over 1,000 suggestions for nudges that could be used to help people adopt Nano salad into their daily diets. There was so much fun with insights from all different areas, including habit theory, which you guys know is my specialty, as well as a whole host of other biases that were addressed in the packaging of the product. It's amazing what over 1,000 people can come up with when they're all thinking about the same problem together. And what got me really excited was seeing the team in action, making these nudges, making it happen, and that just got me so excited to start working at the company as well. So I'm going to put BS Workshop at number 3. And that brings us to number 2, which is Shahzeen Attari on reducing your carbon footprint. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I had no idea who Shahzeen Attari was before NUDGESTOCK 2021, but after seeing her presentation, She's amazing. She was talking about the very important issue of reducing your carbon footprint, and what really made it amazing was that she highlighted just how many misperceptions people have about how much energy they're using on a daily basis. If I was to ask you to name an important behavior that would help you reduce your energy usage and save the environment, most of you, according to Shahzeen's research, would say to simply turn off the lights when you leave the room. And while turning off your lights to leave the room is an important thing to do, according to Shahzeen, she said that it doesn't actually help the environment that much. You know, the energy usage of one light bulb was actually pretty small, and that there are far more things that we do in our households that use significantly more energy, but we consistently underestimate how much energy those things use. So it turns out that these big devices like the dishwasher and the washing machine, because they go through these big heating and then cooling processes, they use an enormous amount of energy compared to light bulbs and laptops. But because those appliances are kind of out of the way and we don't think about them as much when we think about saving energy, people who have good intentions to act sustainably and save energy don't actually end up doing it. So she suggested that people need to be trained and re-educated so that they can change their heuristics, their rules of thumb, for deciding what appliances in the house are actually wasting energy and having negative impact on the environment. But I think what made her presentation stand out so much to me was that the research was so relevant, it was so clearly presented, and the message was very, very clear. And on top of that, it was about a topic which is just so important for our current generation in reducing our energy consumption in the household. So all in all, Shahzeen, fantastic presentation. I so nearly would have put you at number 1, but... Okay, but before we get to number 1, I just want to offer a little bit of constructive criticism to some of the speakers, and I mean this in the most kind-hearted way possible. Some of the speakers during the day, despite having what I'm sure is a fantastic presentation, had their presentation ruined because the audio quality was just terrible. People have a very high tolerance for bad video quality, but when it comes to audio, people don't have much tolerance at all. If your audio quality is bad, it makes the entire experience extremely unpleasant. To use a Rory Sutherland analogy, if you're a restaurant that serves Michelin star food but you have no customers because your restaurant is full of sewage, the way to bring in customers is not to improve the quality of the food but to get rid of the sewage. When it comes to an online presentation, bad audio quality is the sewage. It makes the entire experience very unenjoyable no matter how good the presentation is. Now, to have good audio quality, you don't need to use a fancy microphone like this one. In fact, I saw many of the presenters just using a simple pair of wired headphones with a built-in microphone on the wire. That microphone will increase the audio quality tenfold. As a rule of thumb, you basically just never want to use the built-in microphone on the webcam or in the laptop because 99% of those built-in microphones are just straight up terrible. Any external microphone you can find, it could be on a headset, on a pair of wired headphones, or if you have a fancy microphone, then use it. It'll improve the quality of a presentation so much more, and then we can actually enjoy hearing you talk about the amazing research that you've done. So that's a tip, not just for the speakers, but also for any of you guys watching at home. If you have to give a presentation somewhere online, or you're just involved in a lot of Zoom calls, my recommendation to you is just don't use the built-in microphone, use any other external microphone. It'll increase the audio quality so much more. Okay, and that brings us to my number 1 moment of NUDGESTOCK 2021, and that is Tara Austin filling in for David Nutt when his connection drops out. So the amazing David Nutt was halfway through his presentation on the dangers of alcohol and how that affects hormones like GABA, and also he was talking about the benefits of LSD and hallucinogens and how they seem to have a really positive effect on a lot of people's mental functioning and might even have some medicinal purposes for alleviating mental health issues. But then he has some internet issues, he crashes, and then we switch back to the hosts, Sam Tatum and Tara Austin.
Oh, so Professor Nutt, just when he was talking about my very, very favourite subject, psychedelic medicines, has to drop off the call. He's going to rejoin us, I understand, in my ear because I have an earpiece because I'm a trained television presenter these days and not in a play.
And then Tara, just completely unfazed by this event, just says, "Don't worry guys, just show me David's slides and I'll do the presentation for him on the fly."
The next image in his slide actually shows, if you click onto the next one, I can click, can I? Yes, brain imaging, fMRI scanners. We've only had this technology in recent years and it's allowed us to really peer into the mind, see what's going on. This beautiful data visualization shows us the resting brain state, the normal brain state. And against that, we have the brain during in a psychedelic experience, in a psychedelic state. And
And sure enough, David's slides come up and Tara is just presenting off the top of her head, but also in a super engaging and easy to understand way. And so it was just this incredibly badass moment by Tara. Like, talk about being super prepared as a host when your guest disconnects from the event and you can just finish the presentation for him off the top of your head. Absolutely amazing demonstration by Tara, and also just a really interesting topic that, you know, hallucinogens might be good for us. So those are my top 5 highlights of the day from NUDGESTOCK 2021. If you want to see in full any of the moments I talked about in today's video, I'll leave timestamps in the description below, and also a link to the YouTube video which has the entire NUDGESTOCK event on the Ogilvy YouTube channel. I just want to say that I can't believe that I'm going to be working for Ogilvy in a few weeks' time. Seeing them on stage today was just such an incredible experience. It got me so excited to start working with you guys. So if any of you guys from Ogilvy are watching this video, I just want to say I'm so excited to work with you. Thank you for putting on such a great show, and I'll see you in a few weeks. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. But I think what made me enjoy Shahzeen Attari's present. But I think what made Shahzeen Attari.